Peace. Outside this morning, getting the oil change. So getting this oil change, instead of just sitting there while we get that service done, I'm gonna utilize this time, walk, do some observations, do the knowledge, and build. So I was thinking, how do we get out of a rut? How do we get out of a situation to where we see that we don't have how do we get out of a situation to where we feel it's not beneficial, it's no growth, a situation to where you feel stagnant? Essentially a situation to where it's negative, especially on a mental level. How do we get out of these situations? My personal opinion, when I hear these conversations about how you get out of a situation, or if you're the person that's looking for a solution, advice on how to get out of a negative situation, the consensus is that person is looking for some type of magic trick, looking for some type of overnight remedy, like a stomach ache, and you want to drink some ginger, some green tea, and then you miraculously just don't have a stomach ache no more than a couple of hours. Or, after you drink that ginger tea in the evening and you wake up in the morning and your stomach ache is gone. So we look to have the same type of results in life by being in these unwanted situations. The difference is that a lot of these situations, we actually put ourselves there, or we let the direction we were going in, we just let it keep going in that direction without making course corrections to get on a better path, an advantageous path. So we find ourselves up in these situations to where we don't want to be in. So to have the expectation that we can just snap back overnight is so unrealistic. That's where that depression comes in at, or one of the avenues to depression. The depression comes in where you don't see no light at the end of the tunnel. Even if you believe that it is light at the end of the tunnel, you don't have the patience or the mental fortitude to keep going down the correct path to get out of a situation, because it's not happening fast enough. And that's so unfortunate, because patience is a virtue. Patience is a must, and we see this played out all around us, where you see building take place. You see a house being built. You see a business being built. You see a car being built. You see a garden being constructed. You see somebody going to college and graduating after 4 years. All of that took time. It all took time. And for the most part, it was a labor of love, meaning that it was painstaking, it was challenging in different aspects of all of that. So how will we expect to get out of a negative situation, a situation we don't want to be in, that it would just happen overnight. That's that whole coddle, syndrome, this old hyper emotional fucking world we living in, to where everything is emotional and, pacify me and hold me and console me, man. And life don't give a fuck about it being overly feminine, it being overly masculine. Life don't give a fuck, right? All these are human constructs, man. These is all constructs that we make up in our mind. All constructs that we make up in our mind to progress humanity. And I'm being just objective. Maybe that's what they think, to move humanity forward, to bring about a new progression, to be progressive, which isn't a good fucking thing as far as I'm concerned nowadays. Progress is beautiful, but to be a progressive mind off of what the definition is now, man, that shit is not paying off, right? So I encourage you to let the results give you the balance of justice in terms of whether it's beneficial or not. Right? When you just look at where we at today as a society, in particular in the U.S., and I would say in major cities for the most part, and I can only speak on major cities because that's where I'm at, and I can only speak about what I know. That whole progressive mindset got you motherfuckers soft as fuck, right? With a fucking plethora of mental issues and fucking even more medicine and shit to take for your mental issues. So if we gonna weigh it on the scales, balance, man, the result isn't in favor of this progressive mindset. So with all that being said, let me go back to the original question. How do we get out of a rut? How do we get out of a hole? Now I'm gonna give you my answer, and the answer probably isn't what you want to hear. However, it's the truth. The answer is to definitely get away from negativity, get away from negative people, to get away from consuming anything that's negative, body and mind, right? You don't want to look at negative shows, negative content, negative music, negative people, negative family, right? Nor do you want to consume negative food, right? We don't want to consume negative food, negative drinks, drugs, right? And then you also want to find yourself around positivity, right? Not coddling like you a fucking baby. You just want to be surrounded by positive and a positive environment. You know, if you want to get outside, you want to get sunlight, fresh air. You want to move, you want to do exercise, You want to eat right. You want to do the exact opposite of what I just said about the negativity. You want to be around positive people, positive content, positive music, right? You want to move your body. You want to do some type of exercise. You will want to walk, right? So those would be first major steps that you can do that don't cost anything. Now, the challenge comes in when people are social and you're breaking away from the normal people you're around, what you would consider your friends. And to break away from your friends, you feel a loyalty to them. So to not go around them, not to converse with them, you feel like you're being disloyal. So that's probably the hardest hurdle that people come across. It's about getting new friends, a new circle. However, if it comes to your mental health, it comes to you getting forward in life, if it comes to any of that, and you have to get a new circle, you have to surround yourself with more positive people, a more positive environment, why not invest? It's an investment. Why not invest in yourself? I haven't spoke to nobody who does not want to be around positivity. Just lack the discipline to get around the positivity. The confidence as well. Because it takes a confident person to get a new circle, to meet new friends. Now, once you get established, you can always associate with the people you knew. But first, you have to be able to create a strong, solid foundation. Your foundation has to be strong. I've created my own foundation that I stand on. And my people that I grew up with, that was more so, for lack of a better term, on the negative end of the spectrum, I can build with them. I can associate with them. But what you find is that they don't deal with me about no negativity. And we don't have a lot in common. So we don't hang out that often either. But it's cool because we outgrow each other. And just to hang around people you grew up with, just because you grew up with them, doesn't necessarily make it right. That don't make them bad people. That don't mean that I don't have love for them. It just means that we just grew apart and we going in different directions, which is absolutely fine. So this is just some quick tips that take a little time, a little commitment, a little patience, a little confidence, a little discipline to get yourself up out the hole. So I'm going to conclude this video because I'm walking and it's a lot of traffic noise. Because now I'm on a busy street. And hope this gave you some value. And this is no new information under the sun. I just felt inclined to build on this subject. So let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you do to get out the hole. Like, comment, subscribe, and send this to somebody who need these words of wisdom and positivity. And I build that this gave you some value. Peace.